So, Siddharth, what is your salary expectation?
Well, I think I'm an MBA with 4 to 5 years of experience. I expect something around 60 to 65 LPA.
That's a bit too steep. I don't think we'll be able to match
Why
it.
65 lakhs? Done.
Sir, thank you, sir.
Stay happy. Sign it. Sign it.
Congratulations, Siddharth.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Sir, I need to talk to you regarding something, sir.
Tell me.
सर इंटरव्यू में 65 lakhs का CTC डिसाइड हुआ था, which means 5.41 lakhs in hand. Sir, I got only 1.36 lakhs, sir.
Beta, you don't know how all of these things work. This means you also don't know how CTC and in-hand works. Don't disturb me with this. Go and talk to HR.
Wait a minute. Talk to HR? No. You need to understand how this works. How CTC and in-hand works, because when you see those newspapers and colleges and all these people saying, "Itna paisa mila," you don't need to feel that FOMO. You need to understand how this calculation actually works. So in this episode of De-Influencing, we thought we'll de-influence salary packages. And I'm talking about those large, good-looking, juicy ones, because the FOMO over here shouldn't happen. You should just understand how it works. We'll talk about the good, we'll talk about the bad, because certainly these guys won't. So let's begin. So there's nothing wrong with a big fat CTC. The problem is your expectation. What happens is, once you see this, you divide the CTC by 12, take out a monthly number and tell everyone. Now everyone's celebrating, but what you've done is you've set expectations for society, your friends, people, and yourself. And if something happens that changes that reality, it causes unhappiness. So enough with philosophy, let's start to decode this entire package. So check these two offers out. Look nice, don't they? So this one over here is 1.7 crores, but notice that it's actually an international offer. Purchasing power of every country is different. We also call this living costs. For example, if you look at, say, aloo or potatoes in India, it costs this much here and this much abroad. You could do the same thing with, say, a bottle of water. The same thing would apply to all other living costs, like buying a car, taxi, traveling, etc., etc. And because of those base costs, the living costs increase, which is why there's a difference in salary sometimes. Now, this changes two things. One, you are not noticing that there is a price difference of living costs of living in India and living abroad. The living costs mean that the salaries are also slightly different. When you hear about such a package, the first question you should ask is, क्या ये job abroad है? Is this job abroad or is this job in India? Now, this doesn't mean it's more money. It just means that it's more money in Indian rupees. But anyway, let's come straight to the point. Let's look at an Indian offer, and this is a real offer. I've removed the details, but this breakdown is actually true. And let's understand the difference between the CTC and the in-hand and how there can possibly be a really large difference. This offer is of 65 lakh rupees. You know, the one that we gave Siddharth. And over here, we'll break down all these different parts starting from the base salary, which is 16 lakh rupees. Huh? 16 lakh rupees? I thought the offer was 65 lakhs. That's exactly my point. This is your fixed base salary, jiske upar you know you will get this no matter what at the end of the month. And 16 lakhs divided by 12 is a lot less than 65 lakhs divided by 12.
अरे सर, but tax कौन भरेगा?
Up. You have to pay tax on this, obviously. So all of this is coming to you, but you have to pay income tax, obviously. But we'll do that in the end. Now that you've understood the base salary, let's move on to the next part. And that is called the joining bonus. This is pretty easy to understand. A joining bonus is simply the amount you get when you join the company. And this is amazing. It's actual real cash. There's no problem over here. And you can enjoy it. There's just two small issues. One, this is a one-time event, so it won't happen the year 2 or year 3. So thinking that entire CTC is yours may not be right, because this joining bonus is not a recurring amount. It happens once. Second, the joining bonus exists so that you stay in the company. Some of these companies will have a clause that say, if you leave in the next 1 or 2 years, you have to pay back that joining bonus. So, well, you have to stay back. So I don't know how you should calculate it, but it's a one-time event. The next component is ESOPs. My favorite. ESOPs is 40 lakh rupees in a 65 lakh CTC. That's like 60% of the entire offer. So what are ESOPs? ESOPs is a way for you to create wealth. It gives you the option to buy shares in the company you're working at. So if you're working for a Google and Google takes off, you also earn the equity growth of that company. And this is fantastic. It's actually a great way. A lot of people have become rich by becoming just ESOP holders and growth in the equity. But the understanding is the problem. This 40 lakhs doesn't come in the first year. Usually there is a vesting period. Now let's suppose a vesting period is 4 years. Vesting period simply means you have to work to earn the right to own these ESOPs, these options. So a 4-year wait and you actually get the amount in the 5th year is a longer duration. It shouldn't be included in your package because you're not getting it in the first year. Also, if the company goes to zero, the value of the ESOP is zero. It's equity. We go up together, go down together. A private company, the only way that you can actually cash in or turn your ESOPs, which is a piece of paper, into money is if the company buys back your ESOPs themselves or the company has a liquidation event. Like it goes IPO, it gets bought out, an investor wants to enter and buy shares from you, etc., etc. In only that case will you actually convert this paper into cash. Oh, of course, like every other thing, when you earn from an ESOP, you have to pay the tax too. Then we have the retention bonus, which is simply a reason for you to stay. So in this case, it's 1 lakh rupees. And if you stay for that year, you get to keep it. But if you leave, then you have to pay that 1 lakh back. Now, this could be offered in the 2nd or 3rd year, completely at the discretion of the company. But let me assume for this case, it may be non-recurring. Okay, the next component is performance bonus. I love this because people who work in our office are given KRAs. KRAs and KPIs. If they don't meet the standard of the company, which is pretty high, you basically won't get that bonus. And we have this crazy way of calculating it, and HR gives them the incentive, we call it here, if they performed well. So, well, I guess the problem while looking at this when getting an offer is if you do well, you get the payout, otherwise you don't. Then we have relocation bonus, which is pretty simple. If you're moving from one city to another, there's a one-time payment for you to move. This is fine. You may or may not have it. If you're work from home, it does not apply. If you're not moving cities, again, it does not apply. In many cases, people don't even do a relocation bonus. But we included it because, hey, we're making a video. We have to include everything that's included. Now you know. And before moving to the in-hand calculation of the salary, I have one more component to talk about, and that is other allowances. This could include stuff like books, I can see educational courses, food, traveling, etc. If you don't do any of this and don't take the reimbursement, you don't get the benefit. Or if the meal coupons you get for the food just don't work in a restaurant you want, you can't benefit out of it. But remember, these are other perks you get with that job, and usually upon joining, you don't know how to actually claim them. But it's a nice little thing to join a nice little company with some good perks. So as you can see, all of the components are either one time or they happen at a future date after a few years. So what we need to do is find out of this big CTC we have, what's our final in hand? So if I take 65 lakhs divided by 12, it's 5.4 lakhs a month. But what's the actual in hand? Let's see. So if I take the 16 lakhs and add the 5 lakh bonus, the per month in hand after taxes is 1.36 lakhs. And then you have ESOPs. So let's assume there's a 4-year vesting and it's 40 lakhs. So you'll get 10 lakhs every year vested. Remember, vested, that is eligible for a sale, but not just vested. You need the company to actually do a buyback if it's a private company, and you need to get it allocated and sell it in the open market if it's a public company. So I won't include it over here, but now you know. Now let's calculate the second year salary. Now common sense says that every year you should get some bump in the base salary. So let's assume it's a 10% increase. And let's say you also got a performance bonus. I've also added over here a 1 lakh retention bonus. So there won't be any joining bonus. We are looking at, after all these calculations, it's 1.25 lakhs. And of course, remember, if you leave the job in a year, that retention bonus 1 lakh you have to give back. Cool. Now that we understand this, I think there is just one question. Let's look at what happens in the industry, starting with colleges. We can see this headline says average salary of the college was 28.8 lakhs. Now that feels amazing, and now we know that the average salary was calculated with a bunch of stuff that is non-recurring and the in-hand is different. But there's one more aspect to it. It's how the average is calculated. And I have an actual table over here to show you. In this example, we have 40 students who got 5 lakh rupees. We have 25 students and 20 students who got 8 lakhs and 15 lakhs respectively. 10 students who got 40 lakh rupees and just 5 students who got 80 lakhs. What I want you to notice here is that 40 students got 5 lakhs, 5 students got 80 lakhs. So here's what you have to notice. The mode is 5 lakh rupees, which is the most number of students were actually offered 5 lakhs. It's the most recurring number. Second, the mean is 15 lakh rupees, and it's 15 because we have some students who got 80 lakhs offer. Ekdam skewed. Because of that skew, they've made this imaginary average number of 15 lakh rupees, and this is what you see in the newspapers. And you feel, damn, this average is very high, but the average is because of the skew. What you have to look at is actually the median, which is 8 lakhs. This is the proper balance, but not a lot of newspapers or media agencies actually talk about it. They talk about that higher number, 15. You know why? Because it's juicy, but it ain't the truth. But the problem here is that a lot of people who don't understand this will calculate an ROI based on the CTC and the college fees and think, "Mera to ek saal mein payment ho jayega, let me get this MBA." The second thing I wanted to talk about are the social implications. So over here, when a nice CTC is revealed, the college looks good because it can actually attract more students for a higher fee. I'm talking about private colleges. The student is happy with this, even though he knows the breakup, because hey, everyone in his family is super proud of him. And third, the entire industry generally looks good. That's why this will never break. This Chakravyuh is self-serving. Every participant is happy with the narrative. I hope you found this episode interesting. Tell us what other episodes we can pick out that we can de-influence in the comments below. Say thank you to the entire production crew. It takes a village to make these episodes happen. Watch all the de-influencing series and the psychology series. More shows are coming out on 01. Say something nice in the comments. Goodbye. See you in the next episode.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
ये खोलना तो नहीं है।
हाँ खोल लो।
तंदूरी चिकन खाने का मन कर रहा है। सू कर मेरे मन को किया तूने चला सूट। But guys, look, founders are amazing people and they really work hard to pay your salaries. So send a flying kiss to them. They're doing a good job.